A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. It's barely covered in steam anymore. It's your face in the mirror, adorned with the expression. The door is closed. Still no answer.
Morning. Looks like we can get to work at once. The union muscle turned up. They look rowdy. We should talk to them. Everything points to the dock workers' union. The belt used for hanging him, tracks in the mud, the circumstances in Martinez, my preliminary information. Which may, of course, all be wrong. But we still need to talk to them, and it won't be easy. I mean ungovernable. Martinez isn't exactly enthusiastic about the RCM being here. They prefer to be policed by the union. These men here, men who drink beer for breakfast? There's talk of an armed wing of the union called the Hardy Boys, who are responsible for said policing. I think it's them. I completely forgot. Sorry, I had a rough night's sleep. It's them by the looks of it. Loud and nasty, just like the manager said. One loose thread less to worry about, and one big problem to replace it. That would just escalate tensions. No captain would sign off on it. Solving one murder isn't worth a conflict between the RCM and the Debarders Union. In fact, even the death of 2 detectives might not warrant an all-out war. So let's keep a cool head, okay? One more thing before we do. We don't have to talk to them immediately. We can walk right past them, continue with our business.
Yeah, streetwise. Zoom right past. Do it on your own terms. But aren't you curious to know what they have to say about the murder?
They're in no hurry to leave. They think they own the place. Anyway, I leave that choice to you. Whatever you decide is fine by me.
Just a moment.
She's agitated, judging from the way she keeps pulling at the frayed edge of her blanket.
And there's no public phones nearby?
The closest phone booth is down the coast. Sorry for the inconvenience, ma'am.
It's fine, I understand. Thank you anyway. I'm glad to see you again, dear. Oh, please don't trouble yourself about me, sweetie. I was just hoping to make a call, but the Whirling's phone line isn't working. The union office probably has a phone, but I can't really get there, or to the phone booth down the coast. And Gary's phone is dead too. The manager was vague about it.
Why would he be vague about phone problems? This is something to look into later. Ask God, maybe.
To let the young woman who's house-sitting for us know that we may be delayed. Morel, my husband, and Gary were supposed to get back by Monday night, but they're still missing, and I haven't heard from them. I was also hoping she'd heard from Morel. That's just it. This isn't like him at all. He always plans his expeditions so carefully. But you have more important things to worry about. Just some field work, sweetie. Morel is a highly trained scientist. He and his assistant Gary are studying an extremely rare species of insect. But they should have returned by now. They were just going down the coast across the water lock to set a few traps. He said they'd be back on Monday. What could be keeping them?
The water lock. That was broken. Could this be it?
Oh, sweetie, it's nothing like that. Gary's as loyal as they come. I trust him with my husband's life any day. Oh my, what happened to the water lock? Oh, sweetie, if it weren't for you, I'd be looking forward to another sleepless night. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
You're welcome, ma'am.
I hate to ask, but if your investigation takes you to the other side of the coast, please do keep an eye out for my husband.
This will surely lead to a cryptozoological mystery with that extremely rare insect. Yes, some left-field scientific research is exactly what you need right now. Funk up that vanilla murder investigation.
And if you see him, let him know Lena is waiting for him here at the Whirling. He gets so tangled up in his work that he may not know the water lock's been repaired, and it's cold out there. Oh, you're such a dear. Thank you, sweetie. Oh, yes. A zoologist. A cryptozoologist, to be more precise.
It's a pseudoscience that attempts to legitimize research into mythological beasts and urban legends.
That's one opinion, yes. And people are entitled to their opinions.
She's used to playing off such insults casually, but they still affect her.
My apologies, ma'am. I did not mean to undermine your hobby.
It's not a hobby, dear. It's a subfield of zoology, one specializing in animal species that are so exceedingly rare that many assume them to be extinct or even fictitious. Searching for such species called cryptids is difficult and often thankless, and frankly, many scientists are too lazy to do it. Universities these days are rarely interested in supporting real research.
The quality of research at Revacholian universities has been on the decline, but you doubt there was ever a time when cryptozoology was embraced by the academic elite.
Oh dear, I'm not sure where to begin. Well, his expression is slightly grumpy, but his eyes are always bright and curious, like a small boy's. And his palms are quite coarse from all the field work, but he's quite gentle. Oh, well, he's a bit shorter than you, but with a larger frame, and he has longish white hair, usually a bit uncombed. You might say wild, even.
The lieutenant pulls out his notebook and begins jotting down the woman's description.
One other thing, he'll likely have all kinds of field gear on him, even if he's not out in the reeds, just in case. We'll be celebrating our 16th anniversary this autumn. Not the most numerically satisfying anniversary, but I like the less obvious milestones even more somehow. Via dating agency, I'm ashamed to say. I was looking to get back into the scene after recovering from my accident, and he'd just divorced. We hit it off, and, well, here we are.
She's skipping over some important parts. Perhaps you'll find out more later.
I hope I've been useful. Oh, sweetie, it's fascinating, but I shouldn't bore you with entomological minutiae.
The lieutenant gives you a sideways glance.
Well, it's a phasmid, technically, but...
Ah yes, Phasmatodia, a diverse group of insects whose bodies resemble twigs, leaves, that sort of thing. Ghost insects, colloquially. Oh yeah, here comes the interesting.
Where other phasmids imitate sticks or leaves, this one's a living reed. It disguises itself among the reeds here on the Insular Indian coast. Hence its name, the Insular Indian phasmid. Perhaps you'll end up co-discovering the phasmid with us, officers.
I knew it. We're gonna be chasing made-up insects with cryptozoologists.
It's not made up, officer. I can assure you. It's simply elusive, so much so that most establishment zoologists doubt it exists at all. Well, some teenagers making out in the reeds saw one. They didn't know what it was, of course, but there was a brief article in a local newspaper about their encounter with a ghost insect that looks like the reeds. Gary sent us the clipping. Of course, most phasmid sightings turn out to be false alarms, but their description matched the Insular Indian phasmid perfectly, and they didn't even know what they were looking at.
Enthusiasm has wiped the worry from her face. Her eyes sparkle behind her glasses.
I suppose I have something of a personal connection to the Insular Indian phasmid. All scientists have their little hobby horses. Not at all. Why else would it hide itself so carefully? Oh, I doubt it. No one gets into cryptozoology for the money, sweetie. Yes, it can blend in almost perfectly among the reeds. It's how it stayed hidden all these years, centuries even. Oh dear, I'm afraid I'm not explaining this very well. It is very special. Morel can explain it all much better. I wish you could hear him describe it. Then you'd understand, I'm sure.
There's really no point in manipulating anyone. She'd be only too pleased to tell you about her work. Go on and ask.
Oh, I'd be delighted. Truth be told, I could really use the company too.
One cryptid, not a couple. One. This won't turn into some kind of cryptid extravaganza. And I don't. Just one.
Ooh, tough choice there.
That would be the giant of Coconur. The giant lives in the most arid parts of the vast Coconur Desert in South Samara, casting a strange light across the barren wastes. A mirage or a psychogenous luminance. No one knows for sure. It is like an awful mountain appearing from below the horizon and expanding to cover almost a third of your field of vision. The towering luminosity of Coconur is a bad omen in local folklore. Some say it's a fata morgana, others, fate unimaginable.
Who here? No animal can be that large. It's a mirage.
That's what makes it so peculiar. A species surviving at the very limits of scientific law. The giant of Coconur must be the largest animal the planet can support. There are limits, you see, to how large a metabolism an ecosystem can beget. Some say a gravity anomaly below the Coconur Desert might allow the creature to grow to these gargantuan sizes.
Great. This is great shit. You need more. Gravity anomaly? Digging it. Digging this parascientific stuff right here.
Hey, you promised you'd only ask about one cryptid.
The lieutenant pauses, thoughtfully.
Ah, fuck it. Let's have more cryptids.
Well, the smallest cryptid is the Cryobacter catlensis, a unicellular bacterium. It was discovered in one of the northernmost points of Katla on the Boreal Plateau by renowned geologist Caitlin Mijanou some 70 years ago. The bacterial colony Mijanou found had remained alive while frozen in ice for longer than anyone could reliably estimate, certainly from before recorded history. Mijanou disappeared shortly after injecting herself with the bacteria she had brought back to study, no doubt in hopes of prolonging her own life. Yes, The bacteria had survived in the ice since times immemorial. It is not hard to see where she could have gotten the idea.
It's actually a little hard to see. But do go on.
Yes, and she's quite mad, too. After she treated herself with the bacteria, she stopped aging, but also became increasingly eccentric and irascible so that even her oldest friends were forced to pull away. We can assume that she has been living somewhere in the wilderness for decades now, all alone except for the Cryobacter catlensis coursing through her bloodstream. I thought we'd agreed on just one cryptid, sweetie. Can't say no to that. The bacterial colony Michenu disappeared shortly after injecting herself with the bacteria she had brought back to study, no doubt in hopes of prolonging her own life. While, yes, impossible? No. Although, everything has a price, sweetie. After Michenu treated herself with the bacteria, she stopped aging. We can assume that she has been living somewhere in the wilderness for decades now. The gnome of Jeroma. Oh, yes. None of its victims survived. Grieving relatives never even found their bodies because the gnome's venom dissolved organic tissue. It was reportedly a small creature with webbed fingers and a protruding forehead and an ungainly little thing. Quite scary to look at. A couple of campers found it when it was already dying. They heard an odd wailing in the woods and followed the sound. They were scared and wrapped it in tarpaulin to suffocate it. It still took the gnome of Jeroma an entire day to die.
If the body of the creature was found, why aren't there detailed illustrations of it in science textbooks, confirming the existence of this very little species?
Alas, the first scientist who got his hands on the creature's corpse put it in a jar of formaldehyde, thinking that would detoxify the gnome's venom. Instead, all the venom leaked out of the creature's teeth and into the surrounding liquid, dissolving the creature itself. A poetic end, perhaps, but a real loss for science.
Alas, always alas, and then it was gone. Isn't that overly convenient? Sure, a perfectly good explanation. It dissolved in its own venom. Go on then. Ask about more gnomes or whatever.
What an interesting question. And the answer is yes, there are.
Of course. All fairy tales have someone or something invisible in them.
It's the Col de Mama d'Aqua. Its name means thin whisper of sound, and that's precisely what it is. Self-replicating sound waves, invisible and intangible. The Col de Mama is very afraid of us, which makes it incredibly difficult to track.
Col de Mama d'Aqua can also be translated as a whisper light and low.
Yes, that's another translation. They're both quite lovely, aren't they? Although the low part is a little ironic. The Col de Mama d'Aqua makes, or rather is, such a high-pitched sound that other animals, including humans, can't hear it. It could be everywhere all of the time, and we wouldn't know.
Fine, I'll bite. How can an animal be a sound?
Many scientists have asked the same question. Some have claimed that it isn't itself a sound, but a tiny corpuscle that emits sound waves. But there's no evidence to support this theory. It could be. As I said, it could be everywhere. And we wouldn't know any better. It could be ringing all the days of our lives and nights. Plenty. It's the evidence that led to its discovery. In the 1920s, a group of Areopagite ornithologists, that is, scientists who study birds, were trying out a new recording technology for capturing sounds outside the range of human hearing. When playing back recordings they had made in the foothills of the Ea mountain range, they noticed certain anomalies, patterns that seemed random at first, but on closer examination were consistent with the waveforms of songbirds. The scientists soon discovered they could track and even predict what appeared to be feeding, mating, and migration patterns based on sound waves in a strictly delimited range of ultrasonic frequencies, even higher than those of the highest-pitched bat calls. They realized that they had discovered a new species and called it the Koldumamadakwa, after the Paracanassian name for the voice of God, which is said to be very silent. They grew quite obsessed with these little birds. Even though they couldn't see them, they could distinguish among individual birds and even began to name some of them. Sequester, Time, Joscan, those are but some of the Mamadakwa they followed individually. That is a sad story. A group of university students assisting with the fieldwork in their enthusiasm for the project, and no doubt because they were preoccupied with impressing their professors, nearly drove it to extinction. They tried to communicate with it and had no other means but sound. So they started sending out sound waves at frequencies they thought might match the Mamadakwas. And what happens when a sound wave meets another sound wave of the same frequency, dear?
Psst. They cancel each other out. Psst.
Exactly. And these tests were performed so recklessly that when they happened upon the right frequency, well, they wiped out most of the population. After that, the corpuscle appears to have migrated elsewhere. There have been recordings of anomalies similar to those spotted in Ea, but they've been few and far between. It's impossible to confirm the presence of any stable Koltumamadakwa population anywhere.
Of course. A common thread in these. Disappearance and unfalsifiability. I like the story, though, ma'am.
I'm glad you did, dear. What about what? Of course, dear.
You know, to hell with it. Let's have more cryptids.
Of course, officers. Is there a particular cryptid you two are interested in learning about? Of course, dear.
Can I help you? Got the 20 real? Then why are you wasting my time and yours? Another thing. Great. I love those. Yes, and the phone company is taking its sweet time sending someone to fix it. Losers. It's not strange, it's inconvenient. Who told you that? Fine, yeah, it looked like someone had messed with the wiring. It was shortly after the hanging, but I don't know if it's at all related. Plenty of arseholes around here who aren't murderers. If you do find out who cut the line, though, let me know, so I can forward them the repair bill. Yes?
The man ponders his cooking utensils and gives you a little nod, acknowledging your presence. He looks up at you, then looks away quickly, shrugging and muttering something to himself. Shrugging is an international sign for, no, I don't know what's behind that door.
Let me handle this. Detective disorientated. Are you still wondering where you are? This is Martinez, in case you've forgotten. I advise you not to overstay your welcome.
Her entire character has shifted. This young woman is cold as ice.
That's right. I am not a gardener. I'm a legal counselor for the Dock Workers Union. So let's get to it. You're looking for Titus Hardy? You think he has information that will help you? Maybe he does. That's Titus. Talk to him. But know this. I'll be keeping an eye on you. No strong arming. Nothing official. The District of Martinez does not recognize your authority to make arrests.
It doesn't matter if you recognize our authority. We will make an arrest, if we have to.
She says nothing. Her glare speaks for her.
Like I already told you, I'm a legal counselor. Do you have hearing problems? Aggressive? You make your living enforcing violence. These people are just dock workers.
Just dock workers? Do dock workers spy on the police? We let you off easy, miss. Don't think it will happen again.
Listen, you moral intern lackeys. You're a mob, enforcing the unlawful privatization of Revachol. 20 fat men in the Occident are stealing it all, and you're their bodyguards.
Fuck yeah.
So ask what you came to ask, or get back to your commanders. Look, a comedian. Do your job, ask your questions, then get out of Martinez.
Strange. It's as if people don't believe a cop could be a socialist revolutionary.
What you want is of no significance, officer. Don't test your authority. In Martinez, you are no one. What are we going to do to you? The union isn't going to do anything to you. It is not a crime syndicate. It is a labor organization.
Goddamn right it is.
If anything, it is the RCM who do things to people. But we digress.
This is where you say your bit.
Detective.
Oh, this is about him. A real looker, that one.
You're sure taking your time, waiting for him to get ripe and pretty for you, huh?
Oh, he was a real pretty boy by now. Real hot stuff. Letting out that pretty boy smell.
Time to go to work in the shit factory!
Easy, boys. These janitors have a hell of a job cut out for them. I mean, I wouldn't go in there for $1 million.
You might want to start asking your questions now. It's not going to get better than this.
Do a head count first. Connect these men to the tracks you saw in the yard. Chances are they're going to match. Starting from the right, boot size 44, blonde man, in his 30s, overbearingly masculine. Sitting on his right, standard working boots, size 45 or 46, eldest in the room, probably mid-50s, smoker, quiet. Across at the other table, hobnailed working boots, size 43, gang tattoos, Mesk or Sarah Mauritian, in his late 30s, early 40s. He spent his youth in Villa Lobos, a housing project in the Jamrock Quarter. There were incarcerations. Hard to say what else. The ink is fading. And then, standard working boot. Steel reinforced toes. Size 46. The big dick. Wide at the shoulders and lean at the hips. Rugby cap. Fingerless gloves. And numerous scars. A little under 40. The emblem on his vest says Rowing Club. A little patch below it reads T. Hardy, Captain. In the far corner, standard working boot, steel reinforced toes, size 44, 40-something, non-alcoholic beverage in hand. You squint. Is that a plectrum? On his neck. Forget it. It's not important. Let's call this one the musician. Size 41, with the light step. Not a child, after all. An older man with a rat face, mean, watery eyes, and 2 front teeth missing. In the middle, heaving and wheezing. Big guy. Boot size 46, deep marks. Probably carried the victim over. He, alone, is 130 kilos. Add the man in armor, and you could easily exceed 220. In conclusion, these 7 are the actors on the crime scene. The footprints were theirs, but there's a discrepancy. Exactly. You've stood there for about 4 seconds, not saying anything. Hit them with questions. Where's the 8th Hardy?
The fuck is with you, fella? What are you talking about, madman? There's no 8th Hardy Boy. There's 7 of us and we're all here. Or what? You want to be the 8th Hardy Boy? We ain't hiring.
Actually, boss, we've been talking and we think she could maybe...
She? So there's an 8th Hardy and it's a Hardy girl? Who might it be? Elizabeth? The gardener?
Shut the fuck up, Glenn! I do the talking here. Now what the fuck do you want, cop?
So let me get this straight. There is an 8th Hardy Boy. It's a she, and you don't like us talking about her?
That's right. We're not talking about this. This is a private Hardy Boys matter. Nothing to do with your shit. And you're not cops here. Don't go digging around if you don't want a bullet in the back of your head. I'm watching you.
Good. We are all watching each other. Officer, your question.
There's no point in pushing it further, he thinks. This is already a victory. We'll learn more about this 8th Hardy sooner or later.
The pretty boy. You guys really love talking about that pretty boy.
Funny. But my partner and I have a serious matter to discuss with you.
Container belt, like we use in the harbor? Because we took it from the harbor where we work. Then we went out back and used it to hang him. We did this together. All of us. Until he was dead. That's why there's a container belt around his neck. Goddamn right.
No. These 7 honest men have equally come forth. They told you what happened so that you don't waste any more of your time.
All 7 together. They're diluting responsibility. It's an anti-arrest tactic.
How many people have you sent to the Shays? Ever felt remorse for them?
Chaise électrique is the method of capital punishment in Revachol under the coalition. During the suzerain's reign, it used to be the firing squad.
Or send them to Reunion to rot. For 20 years. For life.
The River Esperance Correctional Facility, a military prison run by the coalition, dubbed Reunion by the inmates. The origin of the name is unknown.
But you see, a lawman, is something people agree upon. And here in Martinez, we agreed that this man had to die.
Are you deaf? There will be no singling anyone out. You can't arrest a Hardy Boy without arresting all Hardy Boys. Do you think you could do that? Do you think you could arrest them all?
A trick question. Don't let her lead the conversation.
Who do you fucking think does?
Titus, no one was thinking.
That there's any question who's the leader. That's how he would have ended it. Titus won't let him.
No. Fuck no! The big dick is right here, asshole. You're looking at it. Right. Fucking here.
Disregard the outburst, officer. None of the boys have any comments on their power relations. That night, they acted as one. That's all. You don't have to keep answering his questions.
I know, Lizzie. Relax. We killed him last Sunday night. Seemed like a good way to end the week.
Known him? We don't associate with scum like that, asshole.
Yeah! Who do you think we are?
Quiet. He came around about 3 weeks ago when that Pines cow first sailed into town. Happy?
By the Pines cow, you mean the representative for White Pines? The shipping company you're striking against?
No. I mean the Pines cow. The stupid-ass cow they sent in to fuck us over. But you know what? Why don't you ask her about the pretty boy? I'm sure she has interesting things to say when you ask her hard enough.
That's enough insinuation for today, Titus. Officer, your interview is drawing to an end. Don't waste your last questions.
Why? 'Cause he was worthless mercenary scum. And he stepped out alive in my town. And he stepped out alive.
What kind of mercenary?
The kind that shows up when you start a strike. The experienced kind, too. Had Cohoy and Seminine written all over him. Ex-Oranese Special Forces.
A live grenade, right here in our bar.
I can't prove it, but I know he was sent by the Wild Pines. They hired merc shit like that. Story of every strike from here to Samara.
'Cause one night, he walked straight up to the mic and said, "I'm Oranese goddamn Special Forces, and I'm gonna fuck you all."
Really?
Yeah, really. Had a gin and tonic up there, sang some Oranese paratrooper song, and said he's gonna fuck everyone.
We couldn't believe it either, but he fucking did, right there. Like some kind of animal.
Sire, the tale is true. This is a serious violation of the karaoke code.
Wrong. He harassed women, raped one, harassed workers, threatened to kill some as a warning.
From rape to harassment to threats of violence. Why the strange de-escalation? He regrets mentioning it. Hopes you didn't notice.
To kill us all, if we don't open the gates, if we don't let the scabs in, if we don't bend over. That was before he started coming here.
Yeah, he said it was his favorite joint now. Started coming here every night. Drinking, grabbing girls. Grabbed one of ours mid-karaoke, right there on the stage.
He grabbed someone?
Yeah, this girl's on the mic. A beautiful girl, young. Gets into the second verse of Lover Lake. The fucker grabs her legs, starts screaming. "Show me your cunt! Why don't you show me your cunt?" Then, He gets knocked on the head with a wine bottle, doesn't even fall down.
Aren't you fucking listening? My man is talking to you. He took care of it. They got the girl out before anything else could happen.
Yeah, me and Eugene got her out. Aren't you fucking listening?
There's something odd here. Seems like they don't want to talk about that rape Titus mentioned. Why not? This is a serious allegation. Make them talk about it.
No. You're not getting the name. That's a Martinez matter. And I'm not discussing it with you clowns.
There's nothing you can do for now. He's stonewalling you.
We hanged him up by his neck until he got real still. Wasn't that obvious, Copper?
Didn't they teach you anything at the cop school, idiot?
This is where an autopsy would come in handy. You have to work with what you know.
Titus, you don't have to clarify anything.
We overpowered him, dragged his unconscious body to the tree, put a noose around his neck, and hanged him till he was dead and steady.
Then we left him for seagulls, maggots, and you fucks.
Make them a bit more uncomfortable first, then see if it all adds up.
With numbers, asshole. How do you think? You're right, Lizzie. I've done enough explaining here.
No, he hasn't. Not yet.
Weren't you fucking listening? The fucker came to our bar. It happened right here.
Titus is solid as a rock, and so are a few others. But Elaine, who looks like he might be Titus's right-hand man, the least antsy of the bunch. Definitely not his first time being questioned by the police. This little rat-faced fellow is solid too. Always fidgety, yes, but no change there. Him neither. Mostly keeps to his tomato juice, or whatever he's got there. A single sentence would wear him out. He can't take the length of the questioning. Keep it going long enough, and he'll crack.
Fuck off, Copper.
This one is a stone wall. You won't get more out of them about the night of the murder. Not yet.
Like what, Copper? We hanged him.
Didn't they teach you?
This is where an autopsy would come in handy. You
Titus,
We overpowered it.
Then we left.
make them a bit more uncomfortable first.
No.
Of course he's having trouble breathing. Just look at how fucking fat he is.
Fuck off, Shanky. Angus is a powerful guy. All muscle.
Keep your eye on this powerful guy. Sooner or later, he's going to break like a piece of twig.
Like what, Copper? Yeah, lawman. Why don't you?
It's almost an anthropological sight, watching him try to assert dominance over you.
Not in the arresting mood?
By your side, the lieutenant keeps his hand away from his holster. You hear the nylon of his coat hiss as he steps closer.
Look, Coppers. I know you think you're doing your job here, but there are 7 of us and 2 of you.
The bore's the size of your eye. I can almost see the stars. The last thing you hear is a little murmur. Not a blast, not an echo. No one screams. It's it. More dead cops. Sad news from the district of Martinez, as the bodies of 2 police officers are found floating in the canal. It is believed the officers were pursuing a murder investigation, but got caught in the dock workers' strike and were gunned down under unclear circumstances. Such needless loss of life is truly tragic, a local union leader, Everard Clare, commented, and added that although the event is truly horrid, we can expect similar incidents to follow if right-wing vigilantes are allowed to run around uncontrolled and try to wriggle their way into well-organized neighborhoods.
Nothing. Your investigation here is done. Leave Martinez, go back to your stations where you belong.
I think we're going to stick around, thanks. Some things don't add up here, Titus. I've done this job for long enough to know that people don't just confess to first-degree murder, even if it is a group responsibility. We're going to look into this.
Good luck with that. You've heard everything a rent-a-cop is gonna hear from us, real law officials. You're lucky you didn't get a beating. Again, just get the dead guy's autograph, since you're his biggest fan.
Good one, Titus.
Yeah, lawman. Why don't you?
It's almost an anthropological sight, watching him try to assert dominance over you.
Not in the arresting mood?
By your side, the lieutenant keeps his hand away from his holster. You hear the nylon of his coat hiss as he steps closer.
Look, coppers. I know you think you're doing your job here, but there are 7 of us and 2 of you.
The bore's the size of your eye. I can almost see the stars.
The little guy? You're the little guy now.
So, little guy, you had some questions?
Yeah, little questions.
About fucking time.
Establish authority. Yes. Authority. Feverish thoughts race through your mind. Did you already try the gun thing? I hear the gun thing is excellent and has great results. You're probably right. The others are only there for filler, to make the gun thing pop.
And what exactly is it you've been doing that's so goddamn special? Shitting yourself in front of us. Going around, harassing kids on the street. Kids who've done nothing wrong. All the while talking racist shit. Don't think we aren't watching, fascia. People here trust us. We're getting complaints.
Fascia. That's short for fascist.
Of course you have. You've been calling people kipped left and right, inciting race violence in my town.
Kylie said they've been trying to set up a race rally, whatever the fuck that means. Trying to get the kips out of Revachol before the economy goes to shit. Sure there is. Kylie said they're bulk purchasing confetti, ribbons too, and loudspeakers, and fireworks. Kylie works at the carnival shop, you see.
Get the fuck out of here, you racist carny. There'll be no race rally in my town.
What happened? We got absolutely wiped. Let's go before it gets worse.
What's going on? Are you racist now? Is the rally real? Please don't set up any rally. It will make you look awful. Was that? Could it be the Koldomamadakwa? No, it's probably just your imagination ringing in your ear. There seems to be an extremely high-pitched ring. Ultrasonic. Lena said it was very high-pitched, right? It's like something tickles your ear. Lena also said that it couldn't be heard by any other animal, including humans. What you're hearing must just be a regular bird.
No, I don't hear the Koldomamadakwa, and neither do you.
Of course he doesn't. He's deaf. There it is again. You're about to rediscover a long-lost species. It must be very close. Maybe, just maybe, it will come toward you. Keep still. It might perch on your shoulder. Oh no. The sound. It's moving away. Somewhere over there. Go after it. No. Too late. It's gone. There is no ringing anymore. Just the sound of the streets. Keep your ears peeled, then. If the species really has migrated to Martinez, you're sure to hear it again.
Special thanks to my patrons, Justin Wood, Hobbs, Koopy Vegeta, Gunrunner, Water, and Bat. You can join my patrons at patreon.com/HoldenGatsby, follow me on Twitter @HoldenGatsby, and follow my Twitch at twitch.tv/HoldenGatsby. Don't forget to subscribe to both of my channels. Thanks for watching. Bye.